Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I am your host, Eric Smith, and today I am talking about Sisters of Sorcery by Marsheila Rockwell. I hope that's how you pronounce her name. This is from Aconyte and Marvel. It's part of the Marvel Untold line, and it's an original Clea novel. That's Clea right there in the middle. What a beautiful, beautiful cover. And I was going to take a quick look regarding the name. Yes. I pronounced it Marsheila Rockwell. It does say in parentheticals Marcy. But either way, that's the author. And in this book, how do I... Okay, so you've got the Dark Dimension. Anyone who's familiar with Doctor Strange, or has even seen the Doctor Strange movie, the first one, you have Dormammu, that's how I pronounce it, was the ruler of the Dark Dimension. His sister is, let me take a quick look, Umar. And at the time that this book takes place, Umar is ruling the Dark Dimension. She finds a person that would make a good power source for Umar to expand her rule. And so she kidnaps this person, and Clea recruits a team to put a stop to this. Umar happens to be Clea's mother. Clea is the sorceress supreme of the Dark Dimension. She's always got a rebellion going. But when she finds out about this power source and Umar's plans, she has to put together a team to stop it. That's it in a nutshell, basically. So, all right. First of all, I may be biased. I love Doctor Strange stuff. I love the sorcery stuff in Marvel and the magic and the monsters and everything. So I was anticipating this book ever since it was announced, which was months and months and months ago. Long time ago. Waiting for this book to come out. Very excited for it. Fans of WandaVision may not recognize, that's Agatha Harkness, right there in the middle. So the book actually starts, it's, let's see if it's officially a prologue. Yes. There's a short little prologue that is actually a scene from a Marvel miniseries from, I want to say 2002, but don't quote me on it, called The Order, which had the Defenders, not the Netflix Defenders. This is the Doctor Strange, Hulk, Namor, Silver Surfer, possibly Hellcat, Valkyrie, Defender, that group, the good Defenders. Excuse me just a moment. My apologies. I had a very dry throat. Anyway, there was this miniseries in 2002 called The Order, and some stuff goes down, and there's a little bit of that in the prologue, and that leads us. That's where this power battery person comes from. So then we get. I don't want to tell you like some of the people that are in this, because as with my favorites of these kinds of books, there are guest stars, there's name dropping, but we start off with a special character. They're not in the whole book, just the beginning and the end, but it's a character I really, really like. It's a character who's somewhat come to prominence in Marvel in recent years, depending on a certain title. I'm being so vague. Trying to tease you folks. But anyway, so we have this character, and some demons show up, and they kidnap the power battery, and this character gets hurt, and summons through. Stuff happens. Clea gets summoned. She finds out what's going on. She ends up summoning Agatha Harkness, who helps her gather this team. And we have, this is Talisman. Her father was Shaman, from Alpha Flight, and it's a really interesting character, an indigenous Canadian. This character, I do not recall. It's something Zdarsky, but another witch, sorceress. The Winding Path is her deal, and then Agatha has an apprentice. I apologize. I just don't remember everybody's name. Um, but Agatha can't go along because of certain circumstances, so she sends her apprentice, who just might be as powerful as any of them, and so they they have to get to the dark dimension, and then they have to get to where Umar is, and then they have to rescue the power battery person and stop Umar. And so it's a bit of the beginning. We have sort of a recruitment thing going on, and then we have the travelogue kind of thing. But there's action and excitement along the way, and again, lots of name dropping, lots of characters popping up, and I dig it. I gave it 4 out of 5 on Goodreads. I'm just gonna lay that down right now. As I said, I'm a fan of Clea. Agatha, I like it when she shows up. I can't necessarily say I'm a fan. She's a very aggravating character. I like Talisman. I'm interested in this character and the apprentice, whose name I want to say it's Holly something. I really liked that character. She's young, she's enthusiastic, and she's a lot of fun. She makes like pop culture references that nobody gets. Of course, Clea is from another dimension, so the other characters could get them if they were into pop culture, but Clea, like even turns of phrase might throw Clea off. Although she was married to, at this point, I believe she's married to Doctor Strange, but they're separated. So she's been trained by Doctor Strange. She has lived on Earth, but she's still, she's a person from the dark dimension, and she's there rebelling. But great characters, and I really like the way they're written. The Holly, if that's her name, was a really, really fun character, and I liked the portrayal of the others. Agatha, I think, was accurate, as annoying as she is. She's, like I said, she's just an aggravating character sometimes. It was accurate in the book, and Clea was well done. The bad guys, there's sort of a secondary bad guy, to throw a wrench into the works. And the nice thing about a book like this, though, is that you don't need all of this sort of backstory that I'm talking about, the Order miniseries, and the cameo characters and the name dropping. You don't need any of that knowledge. You could read this book by itself without the knowledge of any of that other stuff and enjoy it as a great action, weird, horror-ish, because of the sorcery and the dark dimension type stuff, weird things going on. Fun book, and I think you'd enjoy it. And I think as far as like the name dropping and the cameo characters, I was thinking about this, and it's just like, when you're reading a novel and a character goes to the butcher store and they talk to the butcher, you don't need to know the butcher's life story. You don't need to know anything about them. The author might mention this or that. The character walks in and they say hi to the butcher, and they might ask about the wife and kids. So now you know they have a wife and kids and whatever, but you don't need to know. You don't need a whole chapter. You don't need backstory on the butcher. That's basically how it is, for someone like me who's versed in these things. When I see the name drop, when I see the character pop up, I'm excited about it because I know who they are. But for you, they're just the butcher. They're a character that's shown up. They're well written. They're interesting. They do their part. And then our main characters move on. and it's not going to affect your enjoyment of the story if you don't know the butcher's whole life story. Am I clear on that? Does that make sense? Because I don't want you to think you can't read this because you don't know all this other stuff. The main characters, you're going to get the information that you need. And the other characters are just a butcher. Does that make sense? So 4 out of 5 stars. Again, I don't think you need to be a comic book fan to enjoy something like this. If you want sort of a multi-dimensional, magical battle, this is a book for you. And if you do like comics and these characters and stuff, then I definitely recommend it. I really love that Aconyte is doing these books. I have all of the Untold. I have all of the heroines. And I don't have all the X-Men ones because I'm not a huge X-Men fan. I don't have all the Asgard ones, but I'm working on it. But as a huge comic book fan, I love to read this stuff. And but I also think that if you're just a dabbler, you can pick something like this up and really enjoy it. So that's Sisters of Sorcery by Marsheila Rockwell. 4 out of 5 stars. I'll tell you what, I enjoyed this so much. I looked her up on Amazon and added. There's a book called, I believe it's called Seven Psychos, with psychos spelled in a weird way, like SYKOS, something like that. I added that to my wish list. It sounds really interesting, and I like her writing. I've read stuff by her husband. I like his stuff. I'm gonna pick that up. So I think that covers everything. I don't really have a question for this video because I didn't think ahead, and I don't want to sit here and try to think of something. So I will just leave you with 4 out of 5 stars for Sisters of Sorcery. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post spoiler warning. We try to be polite here on the Low Budget Review Show. Please like, share, and subscribe. All the usual YouTube stuff. If you'd care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is @Ronin5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, and fuzzy animals, is Eric Smith 5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH 5757. That's all I have. This has been the Low Budget Review Show. I have been Eric Smith, and until next time, read more books.